Reserve Bank has cut its main interest rate by 25 basis points to 7.75%. Analysts had expected the move. The rate is now at its lowest level since early 2023 and comes as inflation slowed sharply to a four-year low of 2.8% in October.
I think 25 basis points is more cautious, and the environment is uncertain, and it calls for caution. What have you seen across the globe this week? Inflation in the US surprised, came out above expectations. In the UK, the same thing happened. It came above expectations. In the euro area, you had wages rising at the fastest rate since 2000. That tells you the scale that you are faced with and the uncertainty that you face. The disinflation process is there, but it is clearly a very bumpy road, and it is making central banks cautious across the globe. And as a central bank in a small open economy, caution is what is going to be at play here.
Solid, that's how Investec has described its interim performance. Adjusted operating profit rose 7.6%. The banking and wealth management firm says this demonstrated continued momentum from its differentiated client franchises. Return on equity came in at 13.9%. This puts the group on track to achieve its full-year ROE guidance. Investec expects the group ROE to be about 14% by year-end. Consumers are under pressure, and so Mr. Price says it weathered a challenging first half. During the period, total revenue rose 5.2%. That's as the retailer managed to increase its market share with shoppers searching for value. An interim dividend of 303 cents per share has been declared. That's up 7.1%. Mr. Price expects consumers to start feeling some relief as inflation eases and interest rates reduce. The retailer says that it is well positioned to capitalize on an improving consumer environment. Lewis has rung up a stellar first half performance. The furniture retailer has reported a 49% jump in headline earnings per share. That's as credit sales boomed. A dividend of 300 cents per share has been declared. That's a 50% increase on the prior period's payout. Lewis says it has noted the boost to consumer confidence as a result of lower inflation, interest rate cuts, and reduced fuel costs, but believes the discretionary spending recovery will be slow. Reunert has opened its books for the full year. The industrial group has posted a 10% increase in headline earnings per share. The group says this was supported, amongst other things, by strong growth in its defense cluster and the successful integration of IQ Business. A final dividend of 276 cents per share has been declared. This reflects growth of 11%. Southern Sun has posted higher profits. For the half year, the hospitality group has booked a 39% rise in adjusted headline earnings per share. That's as occupancy improved, a reduction in debt levels and related finance costs also helped. Looking ahead, the hotel owner says it tends to generate the majority of its profits in the second 6 months of its financial year. And so Southern Sun hopes to capitalize on several events such as the G20 Summit, the Mining Indaba and the African Energy Indaba. City Lodge has noted a slower than anticipated recovery in occupancy. The hotel operator had expected travel to pick up after the national elections in May, but this hasn't been the case. Occupancy in the first quarter stood at 58%. This compares to 62% during the same period last year. Nevertheless, City Lodge says there are some green shoots with corporate and government travel now starting to pick up. While occupancy may have slowed, the firm's achieved average room rates have strengthened, resulting in a 10% increase. City Lodge says it's confident that the foundation for increased hospitality demand is in place, and so it foresees a pickup in the new calendar year. Advotech has inked a deal to expand its African footprint. The private education group has bought Flipper International School in Ethiopia for about 135 million rand. This adds 5 schools and 3,000 students to the group's international portfolio. Ethiopia is experiencing rapid urbanization. As a result, availability in the public schooling system has become increasingly constrained, and so there is increased demand for private education. Advotech believes the deal will help it leverage the situation. Further afield, a U.S. indictment on chair of India's Adani Group related to corruption charges has sent the Indian conglomerate's shares into a downward spiral. Here's more detail in this package report.
Indian conglomerate Adani Group lost around $27 billion in market value after US prosecutors charged its billionaire chairman over an alleged bribery and fraud scheme. Gautam Adani's flagship company, Adani Enterprises, closed down 23% in its worst one-day drop since February 2023 and its lowest since November last year. Other group firms also fell between 7 and 19%.
The fundamentals of our company.
The US indictment accuses Adani, one of the world's richest people, his nephew Sagar, as well as 6 others, of paying $265 million in bribes to Indian government officials to obtain solar energy supply contracts. Arrest warrants have been issued in the US for Adani and Sagar. In a statement, Adani Group dismissed the accusations as baseless and denied, and vowed to seek all possible legal recourse. Prosecutors also alleged the Adanis and former Adani Green CEO Vineet Jain concealed corruption from lenders and investors to secure $3 billion in loans and bonds. Adani Green Energy cancelled plans to raise $600 million in US dollar-denominated bonds after the news. Some Adani dollar bonds also slumped, with prices down 3 cents to 5 cents.